excited. It was like a dream come true. I think it's the perfect time for me to make a video series. I have a lot to offer Kevin Martin, a lot to say. So my journey in poker can really be described as a guy who has really put my heart and soul into the game and gone from the mid stakes to the top tier. Not the top player in the world, not the top player, not even a top caliber player, but I've really progressed to a competitive level where I feel pretty nasty in my no limit hold'em game. And now I am officially making a 12-part series on Run It Once. And the whole video series is basically a blue-collar mindset about how to approach GTO and actually get skilled at poker. I don't think I have a super high IQ. I don't think I blow the roof off in any sort of mental ability. But tenacious, I work really hard, and I believe these GTO concepts are available to everybody through a certain amount of perseverance and time and everything. But yeah, a little more about me. I started making content. Here I am, a little dreamer. I think I was 21 here. I started making poker content in 2015. I was a micro stakes fish. I did okay getting viewers and like making income from the content side of it, but I was a really, really bad player. But I fell in love with the game, and fast forward to today, one of the largest poker streamers in the world. YouTuber. I have multiple social platforms. I do really well in the content side of things, but I'm really proud of the fact that I'm actually very competitive in the poker landscape. Very often it can be one or the other. You see a lot of content creators that actually kind of suck at poker. There's some that excel at both, but I'm really proud of my online results. I'm now like winning at a pretty high average buy-in and very competitive, and that's all while sharing whole card information. So yeah, this was a fun transformation, a young fish to like, a guy that can get out there and bang a little bit. This is my yearly results on GG before they stopped shark scoping. Not the biggest amount of volume, but over 1,000 games. You can see we're up about 150K. I had like a 40K downswing after this, but still profiting in that 6-figure region. You can see like, well, I'm not, I just think it's indication of a pretty good graph where a player hangs on with all these like little mini binks. This is an average buy-in of $220 as well. I'm winning chips at a high average buy-in. I'm winning money in online poker. I'm also profitable for the year with lots of deep WSB runs. Man, I got top 1% run in the Colossus. I just got 25th in the WSB main event in the Bahamas. A lot of million chip stacks and feeling nasty out there. No bracelet yet, unfortunate. So how did this transformation happen? There was no magic pill. There was no close your eyes and make it happen. It was a lot of blue collar, hard work, time, patience, and persistence. So I was a bit of a mid-stakes winner in 2019, but I could never compete at a higher level. So I really sought out some mentors and coaches, and I kind of found some guidance from these guys, mostly Jay Kuhn and Seth Davies. And the thing that really captured their story for me is these guys, obviously they're intelligent, but they're not like an Ike Haxton mega brain or whatever. These guys felt like they had a blue collar story where they kind of just outworked the player population. I've seen how these guys operate, and I don't think anybody works harder than these guys. And part of that is they were on a path to becoming professional athletes. That was the dream. That didn't happen for them, and so they brought that insane work ethic to the poker world, and they're the absolute fucking killers of all killers. So I found these guys. Hey guys, I'll pay you a lot of money. Teach me to do what you do. And they did. Specifically Seth, I've done dozens of hours of study with, and he basically taught me GTO and how to work with solvers and everything. So yeah, again, I'm not the best in the world, but I do believe I've successfully identified a working's man approach to GTO that is potentially available to everybody. And yeah, I just want to give a blueprint out there for the guys or girls that are struggling to think about the game at a higher level. So who is this series for? I want to make this very clear. I don't want to waste anyone's time. This series is for medium skilled poker players. Basically, if you're winning at the micros or mid stakes, this could be exactly what you need. You can win at the micros just by studying opening ranges, very basic exploitative strategies, basically playing 20% VPIP, playing tight aggressive. You can win at the micros and even hang on at the mid stakes. But if you go into the higher stake realms, like if you try to play a 10K live or 25K live, or you go above $200 in online buy-ins, you're just going to get murdered if you don't have an understanding of game theory optimal. You need these tools to compete at the high level. There's just the days where, you know, some guy can just like exploit their way through the highest stakes. It doesn't really exist anymore, I don't think. You need basic game theory optimal approach to poker. So yeah, this is for micro and mid-stake winners. This is for, I would say, medium skilled players. And this is for players who are decent but really have no idea. That was me, man. I had a win rate at like $30 buy-ins, but anytime I touched a solver, it just like overwhelmed me. It suffocated me, and it just made me very uncomfortable. So I'm hopefully will remove that uncomfortability for a lot of you. So yeah, that's who this series is for. Who is this series not for? If you are a pure beginner, don't start here. You need to go learn opening ranges. You need to go learn basic fundamentals about the game from some other website or find other content here. But yeah, if you're a pure beginner, if you're learning the hand rankings and shit, this is not going to be for you. This is, I'm going to assume you have a basic understanding of like equities, bet sizing, all these basic mechanics. Hopefully you have those under your belt. And this series is not for pure crushers. If you're an absolute dog, you know, go watch some of the other elite coaches. Actually, when Phil Galfond approached me to make this series, he's like, dude, you're going to be an elite coach and you're going to make content for the elite side of the community. And I was like, it just didn't feel right. I was like, no, dude, I want to teach the tier below. Like, I'm still a student myself. I really felt like my content's best for the essential side. So I actually asked him to make me an essential coach because I feel like those are the players that I can help the most and they can follow my path as a player. So yeah, if you're a beginner or a pure crusher, this isn't for you. Really a medium kind of thing. Overall mission of this series is to explain theory-based poker mechanics in an easier to understand way. I'm not going to lie. If you really want to learn these mechanics, it's going to take some effort. It's going to take hours. Often these will be overwhelming, but I promise you, if you get through the material, practice, take notes, really try and put the effort in, this could be exactly what you're looking for. Okay. Theory, poker theory. What is it? Took me a long time to really find a definition, but to me personally, when talking about poker theory, it's kind of a big picture, understanding the laws of the universe. If you understand the laws of the universe, I mean, what a beautiful concept, right? I really think it's an overall understanding of just how the universe operates around you. For example, we're on planet Earth. This is an enclosed ecosystem. And on planet Earth, there are undeniable laws of the universe, such as gravity, such as Newton's law, Boyle's law, conservation of energy. To be honest, I don't know what the hell these things mean, but I know these are real things that operate on the planet. These things are undeniable. You can't go against gravity. Whether you believe in it or not, it is a law of the universe. So understanding these things, studying these things, helps you operate intelligently in that universe. And to me, poker is this beautiful little universe of numbers and equities that revolve around each other. And it has its own set of laws that are undeniable, like equity realization, blockers, range interaction. The poker table and the game of No Limit Hold'em is this beautiful little universe, and we are going to be, in this series, we're going to be poker scientists. We're going to use our tools. We're going to try to understand the laws of the universe to overall give us superpowers. If we understand these things, then the world is our oyster. We can do all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, GTO poker theory. Once we understand the laws of the poker universe, we can then use it in all of our decisions in very powerful ways. This is a fun little example also how I think about this. Let's say we're going to architect school. We're going to build a building. Well, if we're going to build a building, we must understand the laws of buildings to make this. We got to understand how materials work. We got to understand how these things fit together. I don't know anything about buildings, but like, if you go to architect school, you need to learn the shit to build the building. Now, this is a boring little building. This is probably the first little building you would make. But the beautiful thing about this poker theory is that once you understand it and you master it, you can truly start to create art. So the architects that like at one stage build the small buildings, once they master all the rules, all the tools, they then have the ability to create badass stuff like this. Like, look at this building. So yeah, people think once you study GTO, you're just this like little robot that's like, you're just stuck. No, it's beautiful. The best players in the world, they take the science of GTO, and once they harness that power, they then create art on the poker table. So yeah, this is eventually where we want to understand the basics of the universe, and then we want to basically use it and create all sorts of beautiful art. Yeah, you can tell I'm a little bit romantic about the game. Programs I'm going to use in this course and programs you should use. GTO Wizard, I mean, what a freaking thing this is. If you're going to get one, I highly recommend it. I'm going to use it all the time. GTO Wizard, it's just an incredible, incredible program. Still has a few limitations, of course, but this thing is unbelievable. And I sometimes wonder what would happen if I was in poker when this thing wasn't available, but more information than ever nowadays. Anyway, GTO Wizard, highly recommend getting it and using it. Other programs I'm going to use, Pio Solver. I'm also going to use some bunker sims. These aren't mandatory. Again, if you're going to get one, I would recommend the GTO Wizard. But yeah, these programs are the tools we are going to use to observe the poker universe. When I started working with Seth Davies, he had a great line. He's like, kid, he's like, the solvers, they're your poker Bible. They're your blueprint. You're always going to go back to them. You're going to be immersed. He's like, you're going to spend time with the solvers till it's your goddamn friend. He hammered this into me, and it was very intimidating. But eventually, after I spend a lot of time, yeah, they did become my friends, and I'm obsessed with the programs now, and they are your scientific tools. Use these tools to observe the poker universe, and you'll learn all sorts of knowledge. Yeah, very, very cool. Solvers are the poker blueprint. They're these amazing tools that we can use to discover all sorts of things. I do want to warn everybody, if you're jumping into the subject for the first time, let's say you're a micro stakes player and you're grinding out an ROI, you want to get to the next level, maybe the medium stakes. There's often an effect that I experience that's similar to the Dunning-Kruger effect. I got a lot worse at poker in the short term when I started studying GTO. It's equivalent to changing your basketball shot or changing how you swing a golf club. Like, let's say you're here, you're grinding out your ROI in the micros. When I jumped into intense poker theory, I instantly got worse. My results got really bad for like 6 months. I was so frustrated. I was like, what the hell? I'm paying for all this coaching. And I just got worse. It's like I had to reshape my golf swing. And as an effect, I started shanking all these balls. But my coach was like, no, like, stick with it. You're now learning how to swing a golf club optimally. And sure enough, through tons of hours and time, I came out the other side and I started crushing really hard. So don't think this is going to be a linear path to your poker dreams or whatever. There can be a lot of blood and bruises along the way. Just want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay, that's my introduction. All very, very exciting. 12 different subjects. I think we're basically going to go through every single poker spot that I have simmed, and we're going to talk about the basic GTO effects, hopefully in an easy to understand way. Now, for the rest of this video, let's start with what some of you might consider a little boring, but I don't think it's boring at all. Let's jump into pre-flop opening ranges. Pre-flop opening ranges, very, very important. People think, oh, I know pre-flop opening ranges. You probably do pretty well, but let's jump into the fine details of them and kind of refine the skill. It's like dribbling a basketball, a basic dribble. Oh, I don't need to do this. Well, like, let's master the dribble, because pre-flop decisions happen over and over and over and over again. And the cool thing about pre-flop opening ranges is they kind of set the foundation for the rest of the game. If you're really dialed in on these and the exact combos and stuff, it's very powerful, because when you look at the solvers, we'll get into it in a different video, but when a solver provides a 3-bet solution, it's very specific. The data exactly matches a perfect strategy based on what the pre-flop opening range is. It's like completely related. And you'll see like 3 bets less often. And then the 4 bets. The 4-bets are directly related to what the 3-bet is doing, which is directly related to what the pre-flop opening range is doing. So it's like all of this data is beautifully, beautifully connected. And we should never forget about that first layer of concrete, which is the pre-flop opening range. So this might be a little redundant to some or whatever, but let's really dial in and look at some pre-flop opening ranges. I got these from GTO Wizard. I was looking at some Munker sims as well, all very similar. They are basically pretty close to solve. There's small differences between some of the solutions, but yeah. So we're not here to memorize these. I mean, you kind of want to have a basic memorization of these, of course, but we're going to look at the mechanics of why different opening ranges change basically based off of stack depth. So on the left here, we have an under the gun +8 range at 30 big blinds. Most poker sites are just 8-handed. A lot of respectable tournaments live are 8-handed as well. So we'll start with UTG +8. So under the gun, this is just Chippy V, by the way, as well. And immediately, my eyes always go to this sector of the region, the offsuit combos. And there's very good reason for that. We will talk more about that soon. On the right here, we have a UTG +8 range at 100 big blinds. Kevin, they look very similar. Well, yeah, they obviously look very similar, but there are small differences, and I want to talk about them for sure. Immediately, a couple differences here, and we'll talk about it. What's going on? Off of 30 big blinds, we fully raise ace-10 offsuit. So the solver off of 30 big blinds raises ace-10 offsuit very happily under the gun. But when it's at 100 big blinds, it just passes. Just pure folds. And that's a lot. That's 12 combinations. Look at King Jack as well. King Jack pure raises off of 30. And under the gun, it just folds King Jack basically always. This is a lot of hands. It doesn't look like a big difference, but this alone makes up a massive difference in the strategy. At 100 big blinds, it passes on Queen Jack. And at 30, it raises about half the time. So that's an absolute key thing. Also, the pairs are a little bit different. Notice off of 30 bigs, fives are a raise, but 4s half the time, and then 3s or deuces are a pure fold. Where at 100 big blinds, so yeah, those are the main differences. Very similar ranges, but we definitely want to understand what exactly is going on here. And it's for this main reason, and this is why the solver does this. And as a human, we can very intuitively understand this. When we are deep in poker, we want to play hands that have big win potential. If we're 100 bigs deep at the start of a poker tournament and we want to win like a 200 big blind pot, we basically need to make a big hand. The value of flushes goes up via the suited cards, and the value of pairs go up because we can make sets potentially full houses, and we can play maybe a 200 big blind pot versus a recreational. Basically, if we have ace-10 offsuit and we're deep and we make a pair, we can play a small medium pot, but we can't get 200 bigs in the middle or whatever. So the solver absolutely recognizes this, and it changes the opening range as a result based off our stack depth. So yeah, when we're deep, we're really looking for that big win potential. Suited cards go up, the pairs go up, and in general, we are way more cautious with the offsuit broadways because making a single pair isn't as good when we are deep. On the other end of that, the other side of this effect is when we're shallow, we really want to play hands that can make strong pairs. Guess what? If we have 20 big blinds and we have ace-10 offsuit and we make a pair of aces or a top pair, it gets really exciting. We can basically play for all our chips. Whereas when we're deep, if we make a single pair with an offsuit Broadway and a bet goes in on the flop, more money goes in on the turn, it becomes very scary very quickly. So that's why when we're shallow, intuitively, we are going to play a high card heavy strategy, and the small pairs and the suited cards get disregarded. They don't become as exciting. Also, a little note, when we're shallow, we play a high card value opening range, it does block our opponent's 3-bets, which really matters. Whereas if we open 6-7 suited, all the aces and kings are still in play. We're going to get 3-bet more often. So yeah, in general, the main takeaway that we just need to reinforce here, this might be redundant. A lot of you guys probably know this. The small pairs and the suited connectors get far worse. And we can see this mechanic through all sorts of opening ranges. So this is the low jack, 30 bigs on the left, and the low jack, 100 bigs on the right. So yeah, low jack opening range. Look, I always look at the offsuit broadways. King 10, pure. Queen 10, almost always. Jack 10, hell yeah. Even ace 9 offsuit is a pure raise, where if you're in the low jack with 100 big blinds, you just bin ace 9 automatically. The offsuit broadways get way less exciting. So yeah, when we're shallow, fuck yeah, let's go. Let's make top pair. Let's make it happen. When we're deep, it's just not as exciting. But look at the pairs. The pairs change for sure. Again, when we're deep, the pairs become way more exciting. We can make those strong hands. And also you get some more suited hands. Notice when we're 100 bigs deep, King 5 suited becomes a more exciting raise. The suited connectors, 5-4 suited gets in there pure. So yeah, that's the basic mechanic that we really want to hammer home. Man, I had a call with Jason Kuhn years ago, and he dropped a piece of knowledge that kind of like blew my mind. He's like, Kevin, the entire game of poker revolves around the offsuit broadways. These hands. He's like, the entire game of poker, if you can understand how to play them and play versus them, you're going to be an absolute crusher. And there's a very specific reason why. It's just the amount of combinations. So much of the game revolves around here. Sometimes we forget because we look at this graph all the time. It kind of looks like this round square. But this side of the graph is 3 times more powerful than this side of the graph. Every hand represented here has 12 combos, where every hand here only has 4 combinations. In fact, like let's visually make sure we understand how big of a difference. Every hand here, 12 combos. Every hand here, 4 combos. If we were to visually represent this, the thing would actually look somewhat like this. There. This is an actual better visual realization of how poker works. This is now 3 times physically bigger than this. And because most of these offsuit hands are a fold, so much of the game does revolve around this section of the graph. And we're going to harp on this when we get to 3-betting strategies, 4-betting strategies. I'm constantly going to reference something called the shelf strategy. And yeah, we're going to really dive into that as well. I just love it. I love how the 3-betting strategies are so tied to exactly what the opening ranges are. So yeah, basic mechanics there. We're not going to go through every opening range, but I think it's like a good idea to practice and visually jump into it. So just remember, those are the basic blue collar mechanics of GTO when it comes to the opening ranges. All right, let's practice together and play at home. Let's see your skill set. So we have a little test set up to refresh before next video we get into the 3-betting ranges. I invite you at home, open up a piece of software. I'm using Equilab, and I would pause the video, and just off the top of your dome, let's create a 30 big blind cutoff strategy. Okay, let's go. 30 bigs in the cutoff. I am going to open every pair except deuces, I believe is a fold. So we're going to open every single pair. I'm going to open up every single ace, every single suited king, every suited queen. No, I think we stop at queen 5. And then we get in like the jack 7 region, 10-9. These are pure opens. I'm going to open the 10-7 suited, the 9-7. These are very close, maybe a fractional amount. I'm going to open these. Again, off of 30 big blinds, like the 5-4 suited, this shit becomes a little bit less exciting. But I think I am going to open the 5-4 suited. Now let's jump over here. Ace 8 pure, ace 9. I think we're also going to jump in with the ace 5 potentially and the ace 7 in the cutoff. I think something like this. In the cutoff, when we're shallow, we always open all the offsuit 9s and then the offsuit broadways. Double check. Final answer. I think this looks pretty good to me. Okay, so you recreated this at home. Let's see how we did. Visually, it looks pretty good overall. Let's start over here. I missed the ace 6 off. Yes, offsuit 9s are a pure raise, so we got that correct. I also got the deuces correct. 5-4 suited. 7-5 is half combos. 9-6. Okay, I missed the jack 6 and I missed the queen 4 or whatever. But honestly, I feel way better when I miss pips on the suited side. It's just less of a mistake. If you're ever missing pips on the offsuit side, I think it's a pretty big error because of the amount of combos. But awesome. I did pretty well over there. I'll give myself an A- overall. All right. Next quiz. Again, I invite you to pause at home and let's recreate a low jack 100 big blinds. Okay. Button cutoff, hijack, low jack, 100 big blinds. I think I can open all the pairs. Maybe deuces is marginal. It's funny, I punted in the WCB main event with deuces. It's going to haunt me forever. Every suited ace. What's the worst suited king we opened in the low jack? Button cutoff, hijack, low jack. I think it's like king 5 suited feels right. We're going to open all the suited 9s, of course. I'm definitely going to open queen 8, jack 8. Queen 7 is going to be right on the line. I have a feeling like it's going to be a mix. I'm going to give it 50%. I'm going to give it all these suited connectors. 5-4 suited in the low jack. I think because we're deep, that feels somewhat correct to me. We're going to give it the offsuit broadways. And then ace 10 is pure. Ace 9 in the low jack is going to be the bottom, I'm pretty sure, maybe 50%. And then these get really close. If we're off of 30 bigs, we're always opening them because the shallow stack loves the offsuit broadways. But I feel like it's going to be like a mix. I'm going to give it something like this. Half combos, 30% on jack 10. Just because, again, at 100 bigs, these become less exciting. Okay, I feel less confident in this one than the previous one, but let's lock it in. Let's see how I did here, and let's see how you guys did at home as well. Here we go. This is the answer for low jack 100 big blinds. Okay, let's start in the offsuit. Ooh, we missed on the ace 9. It's going to be a pure fold in the low jack. Okay, my bad. That is an error. Yeah, ace 9, 100 bigs, no good. Okay, I did pretty well in the frequencies here, like king 10, queen 10, jack 10. Okay, it's pretty good. Notice if these are mixed, the solver always prefers king 10 off versus the queen 10 and the jack 10. So okay, I did okay here, missing on the ace 9. Deuces is a 50% raise, and then let's look at the suited stuff. I nailed the king 5 suited, that's great. King 5 suited is the bottom. Queen 7 is close. And then I did pretty good here. 8-6 is a miss or whatever. Maybe the one gapper is a little too wide from the low jack, and then I did pretty good. All right, not bad. Again, memorizing these things exactly has benefits, but it's more about understanding the mechanics and the situation. So that is pretty decent. All right, final one here on the manual test. Before we talk about some exploits, let's do one more. Again, pause at home. We are asked to recreate a UTG plus 8 30 big blind strategy. I would pause it at home and let's create it. All right, 30 bigs under the gun. The small pairs under the gun are very bad, and then even worse because we're shallow. So I'm going 6s plus. I'm going to go 6s plus. I'm going to open most of the suited aces. I think I might miss the ace deuce suited, or even the ace 3, something like that. King 9. Suited 9s are pretty much always a raise. I would go something like this. King 8 does okay off of 30 big blinds because it's some high card value, the flush potential. And then I know that, let's get into the offsuit broadways. These become a little better opens because we're shallow. So I think I would go something like this. Ace 9, king 10, queen jack. And yeah. Looks pretty good. I wonder if I missed something down here, but I'm going to lock in this answer for my GTO UTG plus 8 30 big blind range. Let's see how we did. Again, I missed on the ace 9 here, so this is a good review. Obviously, I'm overvaluing ace 9 off slightly, which is hilarious because I actually hate ace 9, but I'm kind of overvalued it here a little bit. Ace 10 pure. Nice. We found like the correct mixed frequencies with queen jack, king 10. Missed on the pairs a little bit. Still likes to open 5s and even 4s a little bit. And I also missed on some of the suited connectors, which surprises me a little bit. Wow. For some reason, it prefers 6-7 suited to 8-7 suited, which is a little interesting. Suited 9s we hit. King 8 suited we hit. Overall, not bad. You can get in there with the 10-8. Okay, cool. So practicing these, just running through these, I think is like really, really good. It will really help, especially when we develop our 3-betting and then 4-betting strategies. I do want to quickly talk about exploits. Okay, cool. So we learned the science of the GTO open ranges, and now let's talk a little bit more about the art, which is the exploits. So if you understand what every position is supposed to raise, this is some of the main exploits. Obviously, attack the weak players. If you're at a super, super soft table, they're folding a lot, they're super tight, they're very obvious. We're just going to take that opening range and we're going to expand it in pips everywhere. Pips flying out in every single direction. If you're at a good table, if you're at a really tough table, you kind of have to play more optimally. I don't think I would go tighter than those GTO open ranges, but I definitely would not expand it if you're at a table full of super crushers. I had this experience. I had some really tough tables, WCP main event day 3, and it was like, wow, do I tighten up and just really knit it up? But I feel like, yeah, you don't want to go much tighter than those optimal ranges because poker is poker. Also, pay attention to the blind structure. In live poker, you can get some weird ones where like maybe there's like a super big blind in the big blind. Or one that's very common is like sometimes you'll get like 0.75 of a big in the small blind. Like you'll have a bigger small blind. There's a little more money out there. Raise a little more. Again, people say, oh, it's just like a fraction of a big blind, but hanging out with Jay Kuhn, this dude obsesses about like the 0.75 small blind, and like the attention to detail is really cool. So another thing to think about when fluctuating your opening ranges, obviously ICM, but we're going to get more into ICM into later chapters as well. But this drastically changes not only our opening ranges, but our mental approach to the game. So yeah, kind of we did like a manual study and practice of the opening ranges. Now let's go into the beautiful world of GTO Wizard and let's run it and let's talk about it. So yeah, I just set up this drill here. Just focusing on the opening ranges, and I put on a setting where it's going to give us close spot after close spot. Okay, we're UTG 7 here with Queen 8 suited. I know Queen 9 suited is a pure raise. We're off of 41. This is going to be really close. It's probably going to be a mixed frequency. This is where if I'm playing live, it would depend on my table, but we also have an RNG of 60 here. I'm going to go for the raise with Queen 8, and we will see. We get a 3-bet, and we're just going to fold, but I'm more curious on the opening range here. So yeah, pretty good read here. I said Queen 9 is a pure open, Queen 8 is close, and you can see a fractional amount there. And that's where it just depends on your table quality. And yeah, really happy with my answer there. Drill it, drill it, drill it. You just cannot do too much of this. Folds me in the cutoff. If I'm really deep, ace-6 off becomes unattractive. But with 3 players remaining, I think the offsuit ace is going to be a raise from the cutoff. This would be a pure fold from the hijack. But I am going to go for the raise here with ace-6. He calls. We're going to end the hand. And sure enough, we're not doing ace-3, ace-4, ace-5, but 20, you can see the high card value get much more attractive. It's good I've been doing this. I've needed to review this for a long time. Folds to me in the cutoff. Stacks behind are pretty shallow. Queen 9, normally a pure raise in the cutoff. It's interesting, when there's stacks behind, you can get reshoved on more, but I still think Queen 9 is going to get in there with a raise. And let's see, Queen 8 is going to be a pure fold. But yes, Queen 9 is going to be a pure raise there. Again, this is as simple as the shit's going to get, but if we hammer this home, it's just going to, you guys are going to see as we get into the 3-betting, literally the next video, just what it unlocks. 10-9 here, going to be a little too wide. I think in the cutoff we raise off of 63. Also, the offsuit 10-9 at 63 bigs doesn't perform as well. I think the bottom would be Jack 10 here. I think I opened Jack 10 pure, but the 10-9 is just going to be a fold. Let's check out our answer. Yes, 10-9 is a fold. We open the Jack 10 pure, another really good answer. We're going to drill here for another couple of minutes, and then we'll probably wrap up this first video. UTG 7, ace 10 off at this deep table, a little less attractive, but I still think it is going to get in there for a raise. Under the gun 8, it would be debatable, but I think UTG 7, this is the bottom. We're pure folding ace 9, and we're going to raise ace 10 off. And versus a 3-bet, I would always fold. Nice. Pure fold ace 9, pure raise ace 10. I'm liking this so far. I feel sharp. I feel good. Okay, Jack 10, UTG 7. Ooh, deep table as well. super deep, we know that the offsuit Broadway goes down in value. This has to be a fold. I don't even think this is particularly close. I think I would fold Queen Jack as well. Queen Jack would be close. Yeah, Jack 10 is just going to be a fold. So Jack 10 is a fold. I said I would maybe fold Queen Jack as well. You can see the mixed frequency there. King Jack is the pure bottom. Again, but this is where it's good to exploit. If you look at around your table and you're playing against 7 marshmallows in like a $200 live tournament, like just raise. You can probably make money, where this hand in theory is going to be losing. Queen 5, button cutoff, hijack, low jack. I know this is a fold, but I also like to ask the question, what would my bottom queen be? I think it would be Queen 8 suited would be the bottom. So I'm going to fold Queen 5, and yes, that is correct. Queen 5 is a fold. Queen 8 suited is the bottom. Folds to me here in the hijack. Ace 5 off. In the cutoff, I think, is a raise. Here I'm looking for more Ace 9, Ace 8 potentially for chips. Steep stacks behind. Again, if you're playing against a bunch of nits, you could probably exploit and raise, but I think here, I think the bottom is Ace 8 offsuit. I'm going to fold. That is correct. And the bottom is Ace 8 offsuit, which is, I'm really happy to see. Ooh, UTG plus 7, interesting one. I know King 9 suited would be a pure raise. King 8 would probably mix. This is going to be really borderline. Stacks behind kind of shallow, you can kind of get shoved on, but here the high card nature does okay with the shallow stacks. My RNG number is high. It's a 78. I think this might mix opens. I'm going to go for it. It's a bit of a ballsy open UTG plus 7, but I am going to raise. We get shoved on, which is shoot. Is this too wide? Ooh, there's our first error. Yeah, it's a pip wide. You can see the King 8 is pure. Yeah. Being a pip wide here is never a disaster unless you're playing against 7 Ike Haxtons or whatever. But I feel okay about that. Again, being a pip wide on the suited side feels all right. All right, I was going to end there, but we can't end on a loser. So let's go. Jack 10, UTG 7. Okay, we're shallower now, which makes it a little more attractive. I would prefer King 10 off and maybe even Queen 10 off. But I think this might even mix opens. UTG plus 7. Oh, just at 30 bigs effective. 92. Nah, I can't raise this from UTG plus 7. Low jack I'm raising. This is going to be a fold. Oh, it's the tiniest bit of a mix. It gets in there for a sliver, so kind of good instincts to realize how close it is. Can't end there. We've got to end on a pure winner. Folds to me in the cutoff. 40 bigs. This is the stone bottom. I would fold Queen 8, but I think I pure raise Queen 9 off. Perfect. Queen 8's a pure fold, pure raise, Queen 9 off. And yeah, we're going to wrap up video number 1. Hope you guys found that good. If it's a little too basic for you, I mean, this is why we're in the essential category. I'm really trying to give this shit to the small stakes, mid stake, average buy-in $30 players, $40 players, give them the info to help spin it up. And I'm really excited to get into the next video, which will be 3-betting mechanics. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give me feedback down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about this style of content, and I'm just going to try to make it better and better going forward. Yeah, it's Kmart. See you in the next video.